everybody. We are back today with Brandy of Brandy Astrology, and we are going to be talking about the Georgia Guidestones explosion, destruction. This took place on July 6th of 2022 at 4:03 a.m. in Alberton, Georgia. Now, just a little bit about the Guidestones. I always wanted to fucking see these, by the way. I did. I had really did. I'm irritated as all hell that I won't be able to now.
You missed out. You missed out.
I fucking missed out. What?
I said I didn't see them either. I missed out as well.
Yeah, man, I really wanted, because these are weird. This is like weird. These were weird as shit. But the backstory, a little bit of the backstory with them. They were commissioned to be created by a man using the pseudonym R.C. Christian in 1979. I don't remember the date, but in 1979, he wants to have these things put on this stone, on this granite, in multiple different languages. And this is what was on them. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. So he had this commissioned to be built in multiple different languages. The dedication for it was on March 22nd, 1980. Supposedly it was supposed to go along with the equinox, but actually I looked it up. The equinox took place on the 20th in 1980. So I'm not, I'm not really, anyway, but it was, from what I've read, it was supposed to, they did the dedication then because of the equinox. And then it was destroyed on July 6th of 2022. But the whole backstory with it is weird. Should we pull the chart?
Let's look at them.
Okay. Okay. And I so wish I looked for a time for when they were dedicated, and I couldn't. I mean, I was looking at old like video footage, hoping to see something. I have no. So we only have one chart here.
We'll work with it. It's already interesting. So
yeah, because these things. I mean, these things pissed a lot of people off. There were a lot of people that these pissed off with some of the, or maybe pissed off, but also made nervous with some of the things that were, said on there.
Like all sorts of different groups, like some people thought it was, if I remember right, that it was intertwined with Satanism somehow, like different religious groups didn't like, I don't know. They were just controversial.
Yes. And I think made even more so because like the person who went and commissioned this was using a fucking pseudonym. Nobody knows who the hell he was. So there's just like this air of like, there was this air of mystery surrounding them. And also, what's fucking mysterious is they don't even know who the fuck did this, who the fuck blew these up.
Like, we don't know who constructed it or commissioned it. We don't know who blew it up.
Yeah.
Now, it makes sense that the North Node's in the 12th house on this chart. It's just mystery. Things that are Yeah, I know. Yeah, that North Node, the 12th. Yeah. What else stands out between you? We're not really looking at victims as far as humans. I guess the monument itself is a victim. It's kind of interesting. We're looking at Mercury for that. which is, in that first house in Cancer. That's kind of interesting, in a sign of family, home,
Emotions.
emotions. If we want to see who is responsible for this, we're going to look at the 7th house, which is in Sagittarius. So we're looking at that Jupiter in the 11th, which takes us to groups of people.
Yep. And that Sagittarius descendant beliefs.
Yeah. So I don't feel like we're looking at just an individual who is like, forget this, I'm going to go blow this up, I don't agree with it. I feel like this is someone who does it on behalf of a group or religious group or beliefs, something like that.
Absolutely. And that Jupiter is also intercepted in this chart.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more like
More
mysterious or hidden.
Yeah, and we got Neptune visiting the house. Neptune's in Pisces, in a different sign, but visiting in the same house. Yeah, definitely someone who doesn't agree. There's a disagreement in philosophy or maybe spiritual or religious beliefs. Being that it's Jupiter, I'm more inclined to think it's religion.
I think because Jupiter is more the religious-y. Neptune is the more spiritual.
And it's in a sign of Aries that's very explosive, and very adamant and very like, Mars ruled, so very assertive.
Yes, absolutely.
Probably Chiron though too. I don't always pull in Chiron, but I think we have to look at it because it's a wide orb. It's 9 degrees, but still close. So it makes me wonder, like, is this coming from like past trauma with this group? Like, I don't know. There's something like weird about that.
You mean like perhaps like somebody who was a part of it at one time, but for some reason maybe was no longer a part of it. Besides to
they got burned somehow, or could be, and that's common. People go through phases where they have certain beliefs or they're aligned with certain groups, and they get jaded or something happens, and all of a sudden they go to the opposite side, or
that seems very possible here. And that Mars, speaking of the Mars, that Mars in Taurus.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it is like in a because I mean, it is like technically in a detriment, opposite, because if you put like Mars and, Mars ruling Scorpio too, it could be considered like a detriment. I mean, if you think about it, whoever did this didn't even blow them all up.
Yeah, Mars in that sign just doesn't work well, and it can be, I always like to call it like a slow burn with Taurus. Like it's kind of like a building up of a grudge, because Mars in Taurus is stubborn, and it can get upset, but it takes a while before it reacts, because Mars is naturally very reactive, and you got it in a detriment in the opposite, and Taurus is very slow and steady. So this seems like a slow build up, and then bam. But it didn't even blow it all up. So
when I saw that, I kind of laughed, because I think they were probably aiming to do more than they did, but they really only took out one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they still fucked it up enough to where they couldn't fix it. It had to be taken down. But I kind of seeing like the footage, like of it. I kind of feel like whatever was going on, they meant to take out more of it than they did.
Unfortunately, Mars and Taurus doesn't quite give you the action you need.
It's at least in these in these charts, and
at least in a forensic.
So nobody with Mars. Nobody.
I have Mars and Taurus natally. On a natal level, it's beautiful. It means you'll put in the time, work, and everything you need to, accomplish goals. So forensically, though, it works differently.
Yeah, it's a little, What about the midheaven in Aquarius, Saturn right there, and also Uranus in the 12th?
Yeah. There's a couple things that point me into thinking, how do I want to say this? Because I feel like this is backed by, disagreement in beliefs in like religion or, but I also feel like there's something about government here too. I feel like there's
Oh,
two
hell
sides.
yes.
Yeah, which, in today's age, we do find religion and politics do share a space with certain people. So you got the Saturn right there on the midheaven. And there's something interesting going on with Pluto. Because Pluto's at 27 degrees Capricorn when this happens, which is right on the USA's Pluto.
Yes, it is.
The USA chart.
And this took place like a week or 6 days before the exact return.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that Pluto's retrograde right now. Stay tuned, people. I'm wondering what that's going to look like because
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Something will probably happen. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. I feel like this is, I'm going to get in trouble if I say too much. I feel like this is profiling a certain type of citizen in the US that.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, Ellie.
That's okay. We can, no. You're fine. You can say whatever you want, but if you don't want to say more, I think people will get they'll get, if you don't want to say any more, you're cool. But if you want to, feel free. I'm not going to censor you on here.
Yeah. We're kind of in a divisive time with politically in the US. There's kind of like who tends to be a couple different. Yeah. Anyway, it seems like we're kind of setting up at least what kind of individual would do this. Someone who's got strong religious convictions and someone who's very political with it.
Yeah. Or has some kind of political influence, some sort of,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think about that Saturn right on the midheaven?
Well, I almost feel like it's, because Saturn is like structure, right? Structures can also be like monuments. I think if Saturn in Aquarius is building things up in a different way, a better way, kind of taking things down to the studs and then building them back up. Mm-hmm. So that to me is kind of like the actual, almost like destruction of them, if you will. There's something about that kind of seems fitting here. Now the Uranus part makes me think that there are things that, okay, like they still haven't fucking caught anybody for doing this, right? They haven't caught anybody, but they have video footage. They have the shit. It's either that they don't give a shit, or they know who it is and they're not fucking doing anything about it.
Right. Which would put some political stuff in play, Yeah.
Yes.
With the luminaries, with the sun and moon being at the bottom of the chart, I don't think it's going to come to light who did it.
I don't either. And that moon is also intercepted there, which makes it even more hidden away. Yeah, they're not gonna. Yeah, they're not gonna find shit. Yeah, or they have found shit. They're not saying.
They're gonna keep it hidden, right?
Uh-huh.
And you got that sun in the second house of values.
Uh-huh.
It's so interesting to me because it feels like some people could look at what's on these stones and think it's a very conservative approach to living. And then I feel like there could be conservative people that could look at it and think it's a very liberal approach. It's just so interesting. Like the type of perpetrator we're seeing on this chart being in disagreement with some of it. I don't know why. To me, that's just really conflicting. That's an opinion, but
yeah, well, it's that thing where like you have where when you're so on one side or the other, right? If you're you know what I mean, like if you're so that way, it's how do I want to word this? It's almost like anything that might possibly could go against it is seen as a threat, even though it's like you said, really depending on who's reading it, right? It could really go. yeah
it's definitely interesting. It feels like, and maybe that's why we have a Gemini ascendant, because Gemini naturally does contradict. You know, that energy, it can be swayed back and forth so much that there's usually contradictions.
Yeah, that really, yes, that absolutely could be. And in Cancer, with that Mercury in Cancer, it'd be it just feels like it's like there's a person, you know what I mean? Like oh, is that me or you?
That's me. I apologize.
My shit makes noise too. I'm thinking, oh fuck.
I forgot to shut down the mail. My bad. Take care of it right now. No more dings from here. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever let it be known who did this though, or
no, I don't.
That's not.
This was like it has a very like swept under the rug feel.
Protected,
you know.
I was also going to say a chart that we're going to look at soon. Also, it's interesting for like explosions. Also has a Gemini rising, I believe, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I'm noticing pattern.
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't even really know what the hell did this too. Like they talked about it being, I've seen it as a bomb. I've seen it as like a rocket, seen it as a missile. I've seen
now, and you know, they know, like we have enough like forensics within fire departments and all this, that they know what can start a fire. Yeah, this is just, it's why there's so much mystery and hidden in this chart. It's like, that's my opinion, but I think it's definitely like, let's just keep things like, oh, we don't know, you know, that's just the best way to handle it. Like, I think they do know more than what they say.
I think they do too. And also, didn't you say you were reading that the city was like, somebody wanted to rebuild it and their city was like, no, we're not doing that. I
believe it was the mayor. The mayor said, don't worry, we're rebuilding. It's going to be bigger and better. I don't know, you know, and then that got vetoed. Like, they decided not to. So yeah.
Should we look at fixed stars?
Yeah, I'd love
real
to.
Quick?
Yeah. You have your book? You want me to grab mine?
Yeah. I wanted to do that. Now that's by let me see. What the fuck is that by? Yeah, these are by yeah, the one in Sagittarius, the descendant Antares. A royal star, the archangel Oriole. Is that right? I don't know if that's spelled right, whatever. The Watcher of the West, spirit of adventure, injuries to eyes, sudden loss, stubborn, suspicious, violent, and randomly several marriages. So maybe maybe the perpetrator or perpetrators were married several times. I don't know.
Maybe they might have been divorced. You know, as far as like the ascendant ruler, the Mercury 2 degrees Cancer, there's a 3 degrees Cancer fixed star, which I think it's close enough. It says overconfidence, pride, shamelessness, and violence.
Huh.
Now that would represent
the statue. Yeah, the monument. Yeah. But there was definitely violence inflicted on it.
Yeah, but maybe there's like something here about they felt the message with these keywords: overconfidence, pride, shamelessness. Like,
yeah, like they. Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm trying to put my finger on this because it seems like the act in itself seems so anarchist. But I don't get an anarchist vibe from the perpetrator with the astrology, you know, but
No,
I'm like,
yeah, I don't either, unless, I mean, I do know that there are different form, classes of anarchy or whatever. I don't know all of them off the top of my head, but I don't know, maybe I should do a little research on that at some, because maybe they would fit under one of those other ones. Maybe.
I would, like Uranus or Aquarius would give me an anarchist vibe. Breaking free, not liking restrictions, not liking rules. But we got like Jupiter, we got Neptune, we got Pluto in the 9th house. Like, those are not, to me, typical anarchist placements. Those are like, I have my beliefs, and if I disagree, I'm gonna lose my shit,
What if they are wanting to cause a little, quote, anarchy in the name of their, or to throw, you know what I mean? Or to, I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, 11th house kind of pulls me that direction. It's just,
But no, I know what you're saying. It's not like, it's not the kind of anarchy that I would typically think of myself either. Like,
yeah.
It does make me think though, with that Sagittarius descendant at a royal star, it makes me think it's probably somebody with some kind of power.
Yeah, maybe someone within the government or has full, yeah, absolutely. And with Saturn right there on the midheaven, I think so.
What about that? Let me see that Jupiter in Aries, 7. Kind of wide. It's kind of wide. Maybe not.
It's
at 909 Aries. That's probably
I
is
think
okay.
It's within order.
It's ambition, vanity, intuition, enthusiasm, bad judgment.
Well, yeah, it's probably bad judgment to blow shit up, Yeah. Not the best way to go about things.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, but yeah, I just I don't think we'll ever know exactly, because this thing's gonna be, like I said, swept under the rug. It's gonna stay there. It's gonna be put away.
Yeah.
But I think the information's out there. I think it's known by certain.
Oh yeah.
People.
Yeah. I think.
I mean, they have camera footage of a vehicle leaving the scene.
Mm-hmm. But yet they don't know. Yeah, but they know nothing. They know nothing, even though that exists.
Yeah.
Should I stop sharing the chart?
Sure.
All right.
So one of these interesting studies where the astrology gives us lots of info, but there's no info.
Yeah, we'll never actually know shit.
Oh, no. Yeah. So, and it sounds like it won't be rebuilt. So,
which sucks. I want to see. It's one of those things. People, if you want to do something, go do it before she gets blown up, because that really is something I wanted to see this shit, and I'll never be able to, and that pisses me off.
If it causes you no harm to go see it, Yes. Yeah. Don't wait. I know. Same thing happened when I wanted to see Tom Petty play in concert, and he came to Austin, and I said, you know what? I'm going to catch him next time. And he died like 3 months later. Like, sometimes you just got to go for it sometimes, don't.
Yeah, for real. So do what you want to do, people. See what you want to see before it gets blown up or somebody dies or something.
Shit happens. So
yeah,
live in the moment.
I think that's a good note to end this on. Live in the moment. Why don't you share where you can be found?
Thank you. BrandyBurrowAstrology.com, where I do readings and astrology, and Brandy Burrow Astrology on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Ellie, where can we find you?
You can find me on my website at SaturnSeason.com. You can find me on Instagram at Saturn Season Astrology, and you can find me here on YouTube at Let's F with Astrology. Thank you so much for wanting to do this particular, I mean, obviously thank you for always being here, but for entertaining me talking about this, because this shit's so weird. I get it.
Hey, I'm honored every time you have me back. Always a blast to discuss this with you. So thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And to everybody else, I'll see y'all later.